A lot of people think that hyperrealism requires a large number of specialist tools to achieve these results. But this couldn't be further from the truth. One of the reasons I love hyperrealism is that it's actually a very humble art form that can be achieved with basic supplies. In today's video, I'm going to show you the exact tools I use to create my drawings, which can also be used to draw absolutely anything hyperrealistically. You might be surprised at just how simple this setup is. I'll also show you the most basic setup I'd recommend if you're just getting started. So, first of all, let's jump in with that bare minimum. What are the essential tools that you need to create hyperreal art? Well, first up, you need paper. Paper can get complicated and expensive quickly, but the most important thing to remember is that the surface is what matters. For hyperrealism in graphite, a smooth surface is ideal. My absolute favourite papers are Strathmore Bristol Board 300 series and Hahnemühle Nostalgie. Okay, now pencils. I work in graphite, so I use graphite pencils, such as the Staedtler Mars Lumograph. For a bare minimum setup, I would go for a HB, a 3B and a 6B. For really striking results, we want to get all the way down to black, so I would also include an 8B Mars Lumograph Black. And of course, you'll want a sharpener to sharpen your pencils. The next tool is to help us with blending, to make our pencil work look beautifully smooth. I'd recommend against blending with your fingers, as this can introduce moisture and oils from your skin onto your drawing surface, which can create lots of problems. Instead, you can simply use tissue to blend. Some tissues work better than others, so experiment with whatever you have access to. And last but certainly not least, you're going to want an eraser. And not this kind of eraser, this kind of eraser. This is a Tombow Mono Zero. It's kind of like a mechanical pencil, but it erases, revealing the white paper underneath. This is an absolutely essential tool for drawing details. Even in a bare minimum setup, you will want to feature this tool. To go with your Tombow, you'll want a sharp tool to cut the end of the eraser off to sharpen it. I use a craft knife. And that's it. With this minimal setup of just a few items, it's possible to create hyperrealistic art. But there are some additional tools that can make life easier or give us some more control. So now I'm going to share with you my full setup. These are all of the exact tools I use to create all of my drawings. I use the same paper as mentioned before, but I size up, working off these huge rolls to allow me to produce large drawings. To allow for a little more control, I use more than just 3 graphite pencils, but I don't use as many different grades as you might think. These 5 pencils tend to be plenty for me. And then to achieve rich black tones, I'll use a couple more Lumograph black pencils too. The different hardnesses of these pencils come in handy for a range of use cases. For sharpening, instead of a manual sharpener, I use an electric one. An electric sharpener reduces the risk of leads snapping while sharpening and critically saves me a huge amount of time because I can sharpen a pencil this quickly. Now, onto blending tools. Tissue is still an essential part of my workflow, but I'll also blend with blending stumps in a range of sizes, as well as stiff brushes. These additional tools allow for more nuance in blending and detail work. It's also really useful to have a sandpaper block to hand for cleaning blending stumps. Next up, erasers. I use the Tombow Mono Zero by far the most, but I also use a kneaded eraser for different textures and an electric eraser for erasing fine dots. I also use a fan brush to gently brush away any particles of rubber that the eraser has left on the paper surface. And finally, some bonus tools. A ruler often comes in really handy for outlining, tape is great for holding the paper in place, and I always wear a drawing glove to protect the paper from the natural oils and moisture in my skin and to reduce smudging. Hyperrealism doesn't need to be complicated. You don't need expensive pencils. You don't need every grade of pencil. You don't need lots of extra tools. Honestly, the simpler the tools, the better, because often you don't need a new tool, you just need to know how to use them. I use the same small set of tools and the exact same process to draw everything. Even when I'm drawing something for the first time, I can approach it with confidence because I always draw with a repeatable process. If you want to learn how to get the most out of your tools, I run a drawing school where I teach students in over 60 countries how to create hyperrealistic drawings of their own. Check out the link in the description to find out more. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to support the channel, give it a like, and if you'd like more from me, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.